All right, so today on The Explainer, we're diving deep into one of the internet's most, let's say, enduring puzzles. We're talking about a streamer who's been at it for over 15 years, and his entire career, it just seems to defy all logic. So let's try to make some sense of the bizarre world of DarkPsydePhil.
You're going to hear this phrase a lot when you look into Phil Burnell, who most people know as DarkPsydePhil, or just DSP. I need that money. I really, really do. And look, this isn't just some casual request. It's like a mantra. It's the key, really, that unlocks this whole strange, complicated world we're about to get into.
And that brings us right to the heart of the paradox, doesn't it? How can a streamer who is constantly, and I mean constantly, mocked and criticized also be, by his own standards, a huge financial success? It just doesn't add up. But figuring out the how tells us something really important about what entertainment even is in this internet age. Okay, so Section 1, the streaming paradox. To even begin to untangle this, we've got to look at the man himself. So meet DarkPsydePhil, DSP. He's been streaming himself playing video games for, get this, over 15 years. Now, when you think of successful streamers, you probably think of, incredible skill or super positive, fun communities, right? Well, that's not really what's going on here. DSP's brand is built on something else. We're talking on-screen rage, nonstop financial pleas, and this huge disconnect from the very people watching him. Which brings us to our next section, the player and the rage. So what's the actual show here? What do you see when you tune into a DSP stream? Well, you're going to see a lot of this. He'll fail at something in a game, and the reaction is instantaneous. What happened? I don't understand. There's no moment of, what did I do wrong? No, it's straight to confusion and then immediately looking for something else to blame. And this is where a really, really consistent pattern starts to show up.
I mean, the consistency is almost impressive. Commentators have been tracking this for years. If DSP fails, it's never his fault. It's one of a few things, like clockwork. The game's design? It's flawed. Oh, there must be lag, bad internet connection, or maybe other players are abusing the system. A big one is stream snipers. We'll get to that. Or, maybe the controller just isn't working right. The one thing it never is him.
And yeah, this has become so core to who he is online that for his critics, it's practically a sport. They're just sitting there waiting for that predictable moment where he points the finger at anything but himself. Okay, so we've got to define this key term in the DSP universe, stream sniping. Now look, this is a real thing. It's when people watch your stream to find you in an online game and get an unfair advantage. But for DSP, it's the explanation for almost every loss in a competitive game. In his view, it's this huge coordinated sabotage campaign by his critics, all trying to make sure he can't win.
All right, Section 3, the business of begging. So how does all this on-screen frustration actually turn into cash? This is where the whole thing gets fascinating, because the business model here is, well, it's unlike almost anything else. Just look at this number, $19,661. That is reportedly how much he spent on one single mobile game, WWE Champions, in just the first 7 months of 2025. I mean, let that sink in, nearly 20 grand. When you see spending like that, the constant, urgent pleas for money from his viewers start to make a little more sense.
So where does the money come from? Well, his critics have identified what they call the negative incentive cycle. It works like this. Step 1. DSP starts complaining that a game isn't hitting its support goals. Step 2, he threatens to stop playing it. And this is the brilliant part. Step 3, the viewers, and this includes the people who love watching him fail, they donate just enough to keep the show going. And so the goal gets met, and the game continues, for a little while anyway. The cycle repeats. And he's not shy about this at all. He says it right out loud. He tells his audience, essentially, you want to keep making fun of me playing this game? Then you've got to pay up. He explicitly frames it as a power play. He's the one in control, not them. He's holding their content farm hostage. So as you can imagine, all of this has created an entire world around him. Let's talk about Section 4, an ecosystem of hate. It's this massive, deeply split ecosystem of people, all focused on just one guy.
And you basically have two completely separate realities here. In DSP's world, his critics are grifters. They're just monetizing negativity, taking his stuff out of context to try and ruin his career. They're toxic. But if you ask the critics, they'll tell you they're analysts or documentarians. They believe they're just observing a really unique internet phenomenon. To them, it's not about hate, it's just pure entertainment.
This quote from a commentator really nails the appeal for his detractors. It's about that little dopamine rush. The entertainment is the failure. The fun is watching him lose, seeing exactly why he lost, and then hearing him ask, "How did that happen?" It's that predictable loop of failure and blame. Some people call it hate watching, but whatever you call it, it drives a ton of engagement.
Okay, Section 5. Two worlds, one streamer. So what you end up with is this huge disconnect. The same exact event happens, but it's seen in two completely different ways. It's like two parallel universes.
Let's take a classic case study, the empty game box meme. So here's the story from DSP's side. He did a giveaway for a collector's edition of a game. You know, the art books, the steel case, and he made it super clear that the actual game disc wasn't part of it. Simple enough, right? But the detractor spin on this? It got boiled down to something much simpler and much more ridiculous. Phil gave away an empty game box as a prize. It's the perfect example of how one event splits into two totally different narratives.
And in Phil's reality, everything that's happened, it's a success story. He sees himself as a genius planner. He'll say he has more viewers, more support, more money than ever before. In his mind, it all went exactly according to my plan.
But then, you have the other side. His critics look at the exact same situation and see something tragic. They see a man who's caught in this self-destructing cycle. He's playing the victim, they say, while choosing to do something that seems to make him miserable, all for a paycheck. They don't see a mastermind at all. They see a prisoner of his own creation.
Okay, so let's zoom out for our final section, the modern content loop. What does this all really mean? Because the story of DSP isn't just about one streamer. It really holds up a mirror to a bizarre new way that content works online today.
When you boil it all down, the DSP phenomenon shows us this really weird, symbiotic relationship. It might be toxic, but it's symbiotic. He and his critics are locked in this dance. He creates frustration, and they watch it, they clip it, they talk about it, they even pay for it. The key takeaway here is that the negativity isn't just some unfortunate side effect. The negativity is the product, and you can map out this entire ecosystem in one simple continuous loop. He creates content, he rages, his critics clip that rage, then they commentate on it, both sides then monetize all that attention, and the whole thing just repeats. It's a perfect, self-sustaining content engine, and the fuel is pure negativity. And that forces us to end with a really big question. The bizarre world of DarkPsydePhil proves one thing for sure. In today's internet, attention is the ultimate currency. It doesn't matter if that attention is positive or negative. So, what does it say about where we're at with online entertainment when the line between a fan and a hater completely disappears and both of them end up buying a ticket to the exact same show?